Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, we're going to talk about another one of the dungeons that we have in Season 4. That's pretty much, really important, and you definitely want to get it down to easy farm as soon as you possibly can, especially on stages 9. So I already covered the video of doing, my ultimate guide, I guess that's how I call it, for the Grave of Venom, and the ultimate guide for the Grave of Curse, right? The first two dungeons are already covered, Venom, Curse. Honestly, I'm not gonna do Rot anytime soon because Grave of Rot is not one of the priority ones. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm too biased, maybe I just don't see it, but I feel like Grave of Rot is pretty much useless this season. All the good stuff are in Grave of Venom, Grave of Curse, and then obviously Heretical Ruins and Ancient Battlefield, right? So today we're gonna be talking about the Heretical Ruins, the Dead Phoenix, what's his name? Fire with a Y. So as usual, I'm gonna show you the team that I'm using. We're gonna go through the kit, see what the boss does, what you need to bring against this boss in this fight, and then see some let's start with the boss, I guess, right? Let's see what does the boss do this season. So first of all, the first hits, sprues fireballs at current target and splashes on all enemies with burn, dealing fire damage and inflicting attack penalty, right? So this one, if you have burn on you, it's gonna hit on everybody. If not, it's just gonna hit on the single target that it has in front of the Phoenix. Same thing on the second one. Then we have the third one, which is usually, the same one that we had every single season when the boss revives them. So deals fire damage to all enemies and induces the rebirth of all Phoenix eggs. Obviously there's only 2. If they are dead, she just revives them. If at least 1 Phoenix egg is reborn, grants invisibility for 12 seconds to fire itself. When possessing invisibility, 100% of the damage taken converts into healing. So this is a tricky, really big problem. If those eggs get revived and the boss puts invisibility on itself, you need to remove it, right? Because otherwise you're just gonna do a ton of damage that's gonna heal up the boss. So this is like the main thing that you should care and be aware about this season, and you either have to block it, right, with buff prohibition, or you have to remove it as soon as the boss lands that. So when it comes to the way you can do it, it should be pretty easy because the whole rotation you can see of the boss is pretty easy to cover. 24 seconds, most ultimate recharge times are at 20 seconds, so this should be pretty easy to cover or removed depending on who you want to use. So that's that one, and then the ultimate deals fire damage to all enemies with a 100% chance of inflicting 2 stacks of burn for 12 seconds. Dispels all negative effects from all allies and grants them control immunity, right? So it doesn't matter if you had blind, stun, silence on them, or if you had defense penalty, attack penalty, whatever, they will all be dispelled. So definitely keep this in mind. However, this one happens after the damage happens, if I'm not mistaken, right? From what I've seen, if you have attack penalty, it's not going to do as much damage because it hits you first and then dispels all the debuffs. So it's pretty straightforward, right? The usual, also the passive, let me see what it says. Oh yeah, so the Phoenix egg that has transformed from a dead Phoenix, nestling, right? That's what the side Phoenixes that happen. However, one thing you want to keep in mind, kind of it's the same since all the seasons, it can be reborn and will gain the skill of eternal life after the rebirth. Enters Worshipper for 10 seconds and grants the dead Phoenix 1% target max HP healing every 1 second, granting 1 stack of total damage bonus permanently. So basically, if you don't kill them before it gets to that point where the boss tries to rebirth them again, they're gonna start healing, right? So that's it's like at a certain point. Normally when it tries to do this again, but I think it's just before that. So you want to keep that in mind because you don't want to let the boss keep healing. So there's several ways you can do that. Now let's have a look exactly how this one's running, and as always I'm gonna give you a few options. First of all, the way that I'm doing it, I'm pretty much blasting it, right? 2 DPS, then I have 2 healers, and then I have somebody that brings me the debuffs, buff prohibition, the usual stuff, and that's Victor. Again, I just keep talking about Victor like, it's like I'm a Victor simp. But the thing is like this, Victor is, again, one of the best ones, the MVP of this season when it comes to buffs, debuffs, so removing buffs. he's just the ideal one, right? If you have him, you don't need anybody else that removes debuffs. You might just want somebody else in the team that brings you attack penalty if you see that you do not survive. You saw we took a big hit in there, but they did a cleanse. I still survived. I'm still fine. I just basically full YOLO. I have no presets, and you saw that I did it pretty easy. Okay, there we go, 31 seconds. It seems like a new personal record. Now, let's have a look. Who should we use, right? So the first thing is, as always, use this filter. This is going to be the best thing that you can use on your account in the game that you can always help you to deal with this. So first of all, let's see this spell buff. Let me see, what is it? Or steel buff, for example. You can bring somebody in here like Dane, for example. Dane could be good. He either dispels or he steals those buffs when he is fully booked, and you just time it so he goes and does that after the boss puts that invisibility on himself, and then not only are you going to have attack penalty, it's the small version, but you're also going to remove that skill. So that's one of the ways to do it. Now the other one is gonna be, let me see where I keep losing where. Oh yeah, there we go. It's called buff dispelling, not dispelling buff, so it confuses me always. Now another ones that we can use that do this one. Let me move myself. Let me make myself fly a little bit. But we have Victor again, MVP like I mentioned. Then we have somebody like Tamar that can dispel buffs on the battle skill, put buff prohibition if there is no buffs out there. You can use Jorn, you can use Huldark, Vinyara is one of the amazing ones. But do keep in mind that if you use somebody that has single target buff dispel like a Vinyara, she might not be the perfect one, because when the boss goes into invisibility, you cannot target them with single target hits. Keep that in mind. That's the whole idea. That's what invisibility does in this game. I think it also mitigates damage, but the thing that invisibility makes is it makes you unable to be targeted by single target hits, right? So Vinyara actually looks like she's good, but she's not, because she cannot single target there. Let's see, can she do it? Does she do it AoE? Dispel debuffs? No. Something on the passive? Basic attack, dispels. Okay, small chance, but this could work. You know what? Small chance could work. However, you have some easy MVPs in epics, right? I showed you Dane, Victor. If you have Tamara as the legendary, Voresh is going to be amazing, because guess what? He just lands the buff prohibition. You just put that timing in there and you should be good to go, right? Then who else? I think, yeah, Devere can remove it. I think Vex as well can remove buff. So but again, Vex is single target, so definitely keep that in mind. But still, there are options. You saw that. That's like the only thing from my point of view that you need to worry about. And I guess let me show you exactly how you would do it. Let's say this is my team. I would go in there and I would just say like, okay, let's look at the timing. So 6 seconds, 12, and then 18. You get to the 18 seconds, you need buff prohibition before this one lands, and then there's a 24-second rotation. Do keep in mind, what I'm gonna show you does not work specifically or exactly as I'm showing you if you bring people that do recharge speed penalty, right? So somebody like a Victor, he can land recharge speed penalty, which means the timings of the ultimates are going to be different. Or if you bring people that do ultimate energy control, I think she does it. I think Stein does. Hero charges ultimate energy by 5% upon one hit. Oh yeah, no, this one is just for a Stein giving ultimate energy. But if you have somebody like an Adri, right, that pushes back ultimate energy, or Theodemer as a legendary, it's not gonna perfectly work. However, if you don't have that, basically, let's say my Victor is Voresh, right? I would just put Victor to do his ultimate 17.5 the first time, and then every 24 seconds, or 17, right? Which means I'm gonna have buff prohibition before the boss does that ultimate. It's not going to put invisibility on itself, and then there's going to be just easy clap, and every 24 seconds, which is the whole Phoenix's rotation, I'm going to land that. Same thing with the attack penalty. Let's say Finn just my attack penalty. I put 23 initial, 24 after. This one pretty much should help you to land the attack penalty before the boss does the ultimate. Or if you want to do it smarter, just do it at, if you have it for 10 seconds, just do it at 17 as well, or like 17.5, so you're covered for both of the AoEs, right? Because if I look at if you look again, the boss does an AoE hit over here and then does an AoE hit over here. So basically you want to cover between 17 and 24. You want to be covered with attack penalty so that you can survive. Also, if you see that you have a problem with those burns after the boss does the ultimate and you're struggling with that, you can bring either somebody does a cleanse, right? Someone does a full cleanse. So let's have a look at somebody that does dispel debuff, right? Because that burn can be problematic. So an easy example is somebody like a V-Cook, right? Dispels 2 debuffs from each ally and heals them by a certain percentage. You can bring V-Cook in the team or anybody else, or even Fitz, right? Fitz can pretty much cleanse by taking all the debuffs on himself, and if you build it with the resist, he's not going to get any of those debuffs. There's plenty of other ones out there. You can even use Nathaniel if you do the right thing. He can cleanse on the battle skill. It's not the best one, but he's an option. So that's how you can do it. Reta, there's a lot. Or if you struggle by having a good cleanser, just look at somebody that brings you, where is it? Buffs. Let's see, where's the debuff prohibition? Debuff, why can I not see it? Debuff block, okay? Look at somebody brings you debuff block. You can maybe have somebody like a Faesa. However, I would not recommend her because, again, she brings recharging speed penalty. But you might have somebody like a Thea. But keep in mind, Thea only does it for ranged champions. Then you have somebody like a Catherine. So again, somebody that brings debuff immunity, so you can block that HP burn, and then you're good. And the way you would do it is, if you bring somebody with debuff immunity, again, 24 seconds complete rotation. Let's say Astion is my Catherine. I just put that at 23, right? Before the boss does the AoE smack, I put debuff immunity and I'm good. If you have a cleanser though, let's say Astion is my cleanser, I put it at 25 or 24.5, and again, keep it at 24. That should pretty much keep in the rotation with attack penalty, with the debuffs, with cleansing, with healing, with anything that you need in order to tackle this fight, and then you should pretty much destroy the boss, pretty easily. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, because you know what, it's some of these dungeons seem difficult at first, but after you learn their core mechanics, it becomes pretty easy to tackle them, to fight them, and then just get into easy farm. At least up until we get to the point where we get to endgame, we'll just blast them in like 10, 15, 20 seconds with our full damage builds, and then we're good to go. But yeah, I think we're gonna leave it at this for today, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking it, subscribing to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.